Hello, fellow classmates, professors, and whoever else may be watching. Today I'm here to show something that our society is plagued with, even though they might not know it. This topic may be a little controversial, but my goal is to get you to look into this unfortunate plague and possibly rise up and form a coalition on something that has become the new norm, and that is political donations. Our founding fathers said that having two political parties would harm this country. In fact, George Washington warned about it in his farewell address, stating, "The baneful effects of spirit of party." End quote. You might be wondering where I'm going with this, so circling back to my point, we are a nation of many different political parties: Republican, Democrat, Green Party, Libertarian, so on and so forth. However, the one thing that seems to be overlooked are the contributors that keep these parties afloat. Today I'm going to talk to you about three things. One, I'm going to try to open your eyes as to how much money is being given by these corporations. Two, I'm going to tell you the risk that comes along with this, such as quid pro quo. Three, I'm going to tell you what we need to do to fix it. So, I have a few different references here. A few different subjects, a few different people, different places of the world. One from Britain, one from the United States. This guy here, Kypros Kypri, makes a very, very, very valid point when he says this. If someone donates $1,000, they support you. If they donate $100,000, they have bought you. As scary as that may sound, it's the truth. It's the truth. Brody Mullins, another person in here, said he wrote an article about J.P. Morgan Chase, and J.P. Morgan Chase donated $50,000 in 2009 to a political action committee, otherwise known as a PAC, in hopes to try to get somebody elected. Who? Don't know. That's for you to decide. These are just a few different things that people are doing, that these major companies are doing. In 2017, Alexander Fink showed a graph, and the graph showed varying different degrees of individual parties to donation patterns follow the federal election cycle, especially donations to the party organizations, whether it be Democrat or Republican. Of course, we know, because of the two main parties in this country, it's either going to one or the other. Justin Fisher, a gentleman that lives in Britain, wrote a large article and said that a large portion of British voters disagree that the government is for them, even though they were elected by them. They feel their agendas fit those of their special interests. Now, think about it with me. J.P. Morgan Chase donates $50,000 to a political group, a PAC, to their own PAC that they own. They're not just doing it for fun. They're doing it because they want to have some kind of skin in the game. They want to be able to push somebody to do something. This is one of the scariest things that we can possibly come across in our society. Our politicians, our leaders, our presidents, our senators, our local representatives are all being controlled like puppets. And these large corporations are puppeteers for them. It's insane. It's almost like, and pardon me for saying this, it's almost like a cult. You have a small group of individuals. Nobody is allowed in from the outside, and nobody is allowed out from the inside. Justin Fisher says, why do companies make political parties? Do they make political parties? Absolutely they do. Back before Ronald Reagan was elected, if you look at the maps from the website 273 to Win, you have the Democrats and the Republicans flip sides. There's a reason for that. It's not just because everybody decided one day that they decided with this party versus this party. They went with the party that best suited their agenda. Donations to political parties should be stopped. They should be stopped by corporations. They should be stopped by individuals. And what should happen is they should be given an allowed amount to run for president by the local governors, whichever state they're running from. The people in the state should pick the best person that they would like to run for president. I'm not trying to reshape the whole political, way that we run for president, or trying to shake up the democracy or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that if you do have somebody who's interested in running for president of the United States of America, it should be funded by the state that they come from, not by people all over the country. It doesn't make any sense. And it should not be funded by Wall Street and these big corporations and banks that end up being special interests. Our politicians should not be owned by special interests, period, end of story. And back to Brody and Mullen's point, their article really did sum it up for me, and I hope it does for you too. They said that Wall Street steps up political donations by lobbying. Lobbying is another scary thing in our country. You basically have a ton of people that gather in a room around our local politicians and say, this is what we want to do, this is what we have to offer, this is what you're going to do. In fact, the FEC reports PAC contributions quarterly are the biggest during federal election years, so the presidential years. Jamie Wyman spoke about this as well. If you really want to hurt a political party, you want to hit them where it hurts, in the pocketbooks. John Edwards, a 2008 failed presidential candidate that was taking on illegal campaign contributions. Can you even imagine that? Over $1 million worth of them. He knew he did it. He reached out for it. I don't think it's right. I think that the taxpayers should be able to vote for the people that they want for, and if the taxpayers want those people to work for them, they should be paid by them. Going back to everything, I really, really hope that I made you think a little bit about here that you have to open your eyes. You guys have to look into who you're voting for, what you're voting for, who they're funded by. It's so incredibly important that the amount of special interest donors that come from all of these different types of PACs, it shouldn't be a thing. It should not be allowed. The best way to do this would be not to allow large contributions from big corporations, not to allow large contributions from individual donors, and to allow certain PACs to be limited to the amount of money that they can give, and it should be each party is limited to the amount of PACs that they're allowed to receive from. I really hope that this kind of helps you guys out and hopes you look and dig a little bit deeper just instead of voting based just on policy.